Hi there, for those who are watching. I have seen better days, but and so can we also say about this currently new chapter. What is that old geezer planning? Is he planning on doing one last favor for the man who says he's gonna unite China before he dies? Because he almost seems to imply that he is reaching the end of his life, and given to the fact that, well, it's not exactly clear on how old this old timer is, but I think he's around 90, and being an ancient China, that is quite rare. Or maybe it's 100. Either way, it turns out that in Kanyo, the people are still wondering what they're gonna do about the other states that are still wants to attack the other. I mean, Shin. However, it will not become a coalition army because apparently to Shubei-kun or Shuhei-kun, and this is the Kingdom chapter 486. In case I didn't say that. It turns out that the only reason why the coalition army was formed because of that long-haired Prime Minister Shin Kun, who apparently had served for Mighty's no Shun's mighty Prime Minister for 20 years. Well, I know he wasn't 20 years old, but he certainly looked pretty young for a guy who was over 40. And also for the name of Riboku, who we all know, at least those who read the manga, got extremely famous after the death of Oki. And Gekishin, wasn't that Jan's top great general? So yeah, but Shushin-kun is now dead, and Riboku is still disgraced, so a collision won't happen. And Shobun-kun says he will not allow it, and they have spread spies everywhere. However, he is also saying that while it's very unlikely a collision will happen, he knows that something else might very well happen, because we get a point here. We have had our eyes towards the great states of Cao, Shu, and Wei for a long time now. What has happened to the other states? That's a question, and I'm thinking we're getting closer to knowing that answer. Even though Shohei-kun says that their next target is Sao, they get a message. And elsewhere, Shin will finally leave, and apparently they will partied for 5 days straight with only drinking. But of course, as soon as they're going to go back and rest, they get an emergency uh, report. Something about a temporary truce has been agreed by Kanju and Sao, which is something that not even Shuhun-kun could predict. They just took the hill of Kanyu and now they're having a temporary truce? No, 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 that's not a stable truce. Especially with no explanation. What's this bad? Well, it turns out that there is a reason for that. Two, no, three very powerful people have arrived in Shin, and only two who do not belong in Shin. The old timer that we saw before, Riboku, and the guy we saw last chapter, the King of Ki. Let's just say Ki, okay? And let me just tell you, at least from this picture, Ki looks way bigger. I mean, Ki's King. Sorry, stammered. King looks way bigger than he looked before. And that guy has always been known to be kind of creepy. I mean, he did eat a snake and then spit out the head. I mean, it's not really that strange, I think, to eat snakes. It's just that some snakes are venomous, so it's not so easy eating them. And apparently, Saitaku, the old timer, did this without any proof, well, not proof, permission. Why did he do this? Well, turns out the old timer had one last, what's that? Not triumph card, but one last very risky, if not dishonorable gamble. Or maybe dishonorable is the wrong word, but it is certainly very reckless. and he decided to do this without orders because if they did, I think it would have taken a little turn, according to him, for the worse. Turns out that the only reason why he brought the two here was not he had no plan actually to bring Riboku here, only the Key King. Why? And why is Riboku here? Well, turns out that the old timer Saitaku used a little bit I wouldn't say a hostage negotiation, but in order for the Key King to pass through uh, to Shin, they had to pass Sao. And even though they could pay it in gold, if they would allow payment in gold and Riboku to go along for the ride, then the Key King will pass without any problem. Even though this is capital offense. And the old-timer is prepared to even if he will be executed. However, he does say that the Western Eastern empires that have shooken these lands in the years long past have culminated in King of Eastern Qi and the King of Western Shin we have today. So I think what he's trying to say is both Qin and Shin, let's just say that, okay, China Shin, have caused an enormous amount of earthquakes in China. And he believes that if these two kings can meet face to face, perhaps something very strong can happen. And he says that to say, as a king who wishes to see all other states brought to ruin and crumble to dust, I respectfully ask that you exchange some words with the king of Qi, he who challenged you from atop the jade crown of East. Does that include that the Qi king is way more powerful than China Shin? Or is that implying that even that king have a dream of uniting China? Well, speaking of previous knowledge, that Qi king, he is an enigma. From almost every single scene we have seen of him seems to hint of a little bit more crazy and intimidating figure. He's not as buff as those old men, and not as creepy as that. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I'll need to say it too. Than that homosexual Sao King, and finally he's not as mysterious as the other kings. So who is this Key king exactly? What is his goal? Is there gonna be a battle against Qi and China Shim, or are they gonna enter an alliance? As the two kings face to face, and Sataku is willing to offer his life in order for that risky meeting, Riboku is in this court too. Something tells me this negotiation is not gonna be easy. What do you think? Give me your thoughts if you have any.